Good morning. I'm Andy Francis, and I'm from a company called KB Coaches, and we restore trucks, vintage and classic, and all in house. And basically, we just keep them, and we got a small collection now of 9 vehicles, with another 4 left to do at the moment. These are some of the vehicles that we've got. This the show in Malvern today. This is a Leyland Marathon 2 with a TL12 engine in it. It was basically a good vehicle, good cab, and which is very rare for a Leyland.
What year is it?
This is S-Reg, which is a 1998, not 98, 1978, sorry. Sleeper cab, another rare one, the sleeper cab. The size of the sleeper, you can imagine trying to sleep on that. That is not a big sleeper. It is not a big sleeper.
A side
Yeah.
sleeper.
The cabs are what they call ergo cab, and they're very, very thin metal. We tried our best to keep it as original as we can. And then the thing is, once they're restored, it's keeping them inside and dry. That is the biggest thing. But in England, that it's very difficult job to keep them dry, damp and foggy.
You were telling me yesterday you have a three-sided shed?
So we have a 3-sided shed, and one of the sides is the front is open, so the air can pass round it to stop them going damp, and it starts to rot again. When we do them, we put new tires on everything. We have the hubs off them all, do full restoration. We don't do engine strips on them unless they need it, because trying to keep it as genuine and as original as possible.
Do you restore them for other people also?
Not at the moment. I get asked all the time. I've got so many vehicles to do, and it does take a long time to do it
So many vehicles to do because
because I keep
you have
buying
a
them.
problem.
Yeah.
Yes. So what kind of metal is it that's so
This is
thin
just
on
steel, but
here?
it is
Okay.
it is literally quality of steel. Back in the day when they were built, it wasn't quality steel. We have this one here, and the steel on this
Oh, geez.
is this thin. You go to a Ford, and it's a lot stronger. A lot when we work on it, we can tell like this metal's thin. So we can't shot blast the cabs because it's too thin; it'll buckle. So we have to rub everything down by hand, and then we put on a lot of paint because the vehicle now will be restored. This, if I keep it in the shed, it'll last another 30, 40 years before it's restoring again. And that's the point of it. They're rare vehicles, and they need to be kept. If people like myself, don't look after them and don't keep them, history's gone. And that is the problem we're finding now, is trying to find the right vehicles and, of the era, and people just, well, people can't afford to do it as well. That is the other biggest issue.
Is there much of a network of people who are restoring old trucks here?
There's a few people that restore them. A lot of people try and restore them themselves, but they usually run out of enthusiasm, money, or their life changes, space, things like that. But we have a team. There's 4 of us that work on them in between the businesses that I operate, and so we tend to work on them at our spare time, and each other keeps each other going because there's enough people.
Some
It,
motivation.
yeah, if you're doing it on your own, and if you're rubbing a cab down on your own, it's it's a long, arduous journey to do it. But if there's 4 of you on it, it's like, well, we can get around this, and you keep each other going. There's motivation on it, and then it's like, well, I'm fed up of doing this. Right, let's go and let's change it. Let's just do something different, because restoration is a passion that you've got to enjoy doing, and we enjoy it. We have our good times, we have our bad times. We have our paintwork doesn't go right, and we have all these things, and we spray it, and it's the paint will pickle, and we have to respray it again.
And you do that all yourself
Also, yeah,
in-house?
everything. So I spray 'em myself, anything mechanical. A lot of these vehicles, I worked on a lot of these vehicles in my younger years as a mechanic. So I am a truck mechanic. That's what I come from. From rebuilding engines, gearboxes, and diffs. We do it all ourselves. Something was all self-taught. My father had trucks. So, as a child, I was the one shoved underneath with the grease gun, greasing everything every weekend, and then just progressed from there, where it was, right, take that engine out, change that clutch, do this, do that. And the same with electrics. We do our own electrics, do all our own. We tend to, a lot of the time, we will totally rewire them. And the wiring on the older vehicles is so much simpler that we can just wire them easy. Working on modern vehicles, no, it's so much difficult. This is so easy to do. So this is what we tend to rather do, is just rewire them, then it's saved. If they don't need doing, then we don't. But some of the vehicles like the Ford here, the wiring on them, they were renowned for issues with wiring. They used to run an earth return system and things like that, which caused, it was a nightmare.
I'm thinking of like sports cars from the
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah, it's just absolute nightmare. But the good thing is they use good quality wire, which is a lot better than what you can get now. It's, you know, the wiring is good. It's proper copper. It is proper stuff. So some of the stuff is good, and some of the stuff is, you know, like the metal they use, you know,
Not so good.
not so good. But you know, you look at the age of this thing, and you know, like the rubber's cracked. Well, just leave it. That is it. That is the vehicle. Some stuff is don't try and make it perfect. Make it what it is. You know, every dent shows, shows a story.
Well, this truck worked, right?
This truck worked.
Do you know what its history is?
It come from a company called, oh, can't remember. I can ask and find out a little bit later. But yeah, we try to find as much history as we can. I think we got it written down here on this one. Bristow's. So we tend to put a board out. That's the vehicle running. Typical English Leyland, smoking, non-stop. And you can see by the pictures of the cab what the roof was like and how rusty it was. But it was still a good cab. And we see how far we took it right back down to the metal everywhere we could to try and get sort of all the paint off to avoid pickling and everything else. Yeah. And, you know, these vehicles were good working vehicles. And the ergo cab is the same as they put on from this section down, is the same as they put on a Leyland Bison, a Buffalo, that you'll see around. So they just generally just made it into another cab, which is what they do. The colors is the brochure colors. So we managed to find a brochure for the Leyland Mark, and this is the colors that it was in the brochure. So we done it them colors. For some reason in the UK, they seem to love to do things white with do the bottom half white. Never figure out. It's a good solid vehicle. I've had a lot of people wanting to try to buy it. It's not for sale.
How long have you had it?
I done this one last year.
Aha.
Only done this one last year. And we can probably turn 3 vehicles a year around, depending on the size and how busy you are with everything else.
And how much room you have.
Well, that's the thing. And the shows, like now we're struggling now because the shows we're busy at work with all the other vehicles I've got. So we sort of come to a grinding halt on vehicles, and we'll start again probably 2 weeks time after the show season sort of starts to slow down. Then we'll be cracking on, getting on with it.
How many shows do you go to?
We're probably doing about 7 or 8 a year.
Ah.
So and that's the point. It's getting these vehicles out there so people can see them. People will come out there, stop, they talk to me, say, "Oh, I can remember this. I can remember that. Father had one of these. I can remember," and that's why I enjoy is people coming up with their stores and talking to me about it, because it's a memory jog. It is the jog of the memory, and that's what people need. You know, it's like, you know yourself. You get in a car that, "God, I remember that car I used to have smell like that," or they open the door, they're sitting and go, "Yeah, it's got that smell." Oh, and they slam the door and say, "God, I can remember that noise." All these things. Hey, if you can do that for somebody, if it makes somebody happy, what a day.
Right.
What a day. You know, it is a good thing.
There are about 1,000 trucks here, I've been told, but not many older ones.
We
So
we think there's only about 20 classics here, which I'm quite surprised. I thought there would have been more. But
is the door unlocked?
yeah, you want to remote? Inside the cab on this one, all we done was give it a quick wipe over because all the plastic just breaks. With the age now, it just breaks. You look at it and a bit of plastic will fall off. So don't.
Don't look at it. Okay, I'm closing my
Don't,
eyes.
yeah.
I'll watch the video later.
They were renowned for the gear sticks coming off in their hand because they got like a little. This slides up here and the gear stick comes off
I
to
see.
tilt the cab over. And the stores, you just go along and suddenly the gear stick's in your hand and you're trying to put it back on. Yeah.
So the classic British comedy shows just sort of wrote themselves,
Oh,
right?
the stories you used to have and things like that. It
What's
is
that?
truthful. That is for the air vent, that is. So that works the air vent down here on the front
Oh, I
here. It
see.
works the
Yeah.
flap. See, now this here is a accelerator. This here's a brake. And this one here is a clutch. For all you automatic drivers, these are clutch, and that's a gear stick. See? And on the side of it, and that's how they come from the factory with a Jubilee clip round them, is the splitter.
Very sophisticated.
Very
How
sophisticated.
many gears does it have?
So this one has a really strange box. So you have 1 forward and left, 2 is back left, 3rd is back right, and then 4th is forward right. And the first time I drove it, I kept grating the gears and I couldn't figure out why. So I had to look on the dashboard to see what the gears said and I thought, I know why, because I'm getting the gearbox right.
I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
step up here a little bit. Well, let's see. Ooh, that's a little bendy.
Yeah, and that's the
1,
other thing.
2. There we go.
The steps are on the bumper, and as most lorry drivers progress through their driving ability, they tend to put on a bit of extra weight.
No.
Yeah, very sophisticated and modern dash.
I like the colors.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? The tan, the brown.
What's up here? What are
That
these?
is the tachograph. That is the mode selection for the tachograph. So
Aha.
the driver 1, driver 2, and it's a manual tachograph. So then you would put it to drive, put it to bed, put it to other work, for driver 1 and driver 2.
And then this opens up
That
for the
opens up. So
disc.
if you turn the key on there and then other way, is it other way? That's it. Yeah, open it up. So you got slots that you put a tacho card in, and then you got a place for 1 tacho, and you open the other face up, and it would be like 2 tachos.
That's pretty neat.
You know, and obviously they're just if you're a driver, you know what a tachograph does.
Is that about what a normal tachograph looks like here?
That's what they did look like. Everything now on modern vehicles is all digital.
Mine's big and bulky in my 1980.
Yeah.
That's much more sleek and
Yeah, we used to have 2 makes in the UK. There used to be Lucas Keisel and Avida Routes, just basically same systems, but different tacho charts are fitted with them. And back before tachographs, obviously we were running on logbooks, which was a book you used to have to just fill out. And I can remember many times Father giving me the book and saying, "Can you fill it out?" From when? He said 2 weeks ago. I can't remember what I've done. Okay, Dad.
it's a book of tall tales.
Oh, but you used to be careful because it could actually commit you more than it could save you. You made a mistake and it was So, but yeah, the tachograph is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
And what do we have here? Is the blue one the brake?
So you got the park brake and then the heater controls. Can't find it should be a cover that goes over that, but I can't find one anywhere at the moment. And there is a video online for the Leyland Marathon 2 sales video. And it's an interesting watch what they say. They say the modern sprung seat, the secure box in the front, the multi-use heaters, and it's well worth a good watch because it's sort of like the way they sell it back in the day is very, very funny.
It looks like an office chair for
Yeah.
a passenger seat, but at least it has a headrest. The driver's seat doesn't.
But a lot of these only were day cabs, and they used to sleep across the bonnet.
Let's be real, this is basically a day cab.
No, this was one of the best sleepers they brought out back in the day. Because it had a sleeper. I can remember my father had a day cab one and used to have a bunk that slid behind the seats that you lifted out and put across the seats to sleep in at night.
Does the bed fold up or something?
Yeah, there's a little bit of storage under the bed. I don't know, you might not go up with the seats. But yeah, if you had one of these back in 1978, you was the king of the road.
Did it come with this little console with the cup holders?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
It's not a cup holder, that is a thermos flask holder.
Okay, well, yeah.
That's what it would have been years ago, a thermos flask. Not for, you wouldn't have put your Costa or your Starbucks in there. It would have been a thermos flask.
And then also it's quite a low, what do you call this here? This part. Is it a
That's just the
doghouse?
bonnet. We call it the bonnet.
Oh, okay.
We call it the bonnet. But yeah, and there's a video the video online shows them going down to Italy, 2 drivers with a double bunk. You know, things like, you know, it had interior lights, which you got to remember, we're coming back from 1978. It was in the day, it was a skylight.
Yeah.
You know, it was the doodads. But as I said, the do not touch the plastic. You're looking at the plastic, it's going to break. It is so brittle just through age.
Now, even I'm looking at the door here. We have the window crank. And then is this the lever to open the door? And that's for the vent?
That's the quarter light one. We tend to lock them off because it's they start to they just break off.
Yeah.
It's age related.
Well, it's a nice big window everywhere. Nice big windows. Lots of visibility.
It's quite
It's
high up.
mostly windows, in fact.
It's quite high up, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. The bonnet is quite low.
But that's why they raised them high, because the engine, obviously the height of the engine affects the height of the cab to make sure they got enough through. Because obviously in America and in the stateside, all your bonnet engine at the front, so you have flat floors. We don't have that over here. We're all cabovers, which, you know, we love them. And that's the thing. But the maneuverability, when he could go with these, the steering lock on these, absolutely brilliant. And the other thing with these, the Marathon, what a small steering wheel. Look at the size of that wheel.
It's like a car. Also, What's it made out of?
It'd be like a Bakelite sort of, yeah.
It's very smooth. It's clearly been used a lot, but it looks like a car steering
It
wheel.
is small. It's light, lovely and light, the steering.
So it drives well?
Drives well, yeah, drives
Did
well.
did you drive it to the
No,
show?
I brought him back on the back of a trailer, but I have driven him. I tend to drive him up and down because they're on they're historic registered and taxed and insured, so I can drive him if I need to. Um, but yeah, he smokes a little bit for until he warms up. Takes 3 weeks for the air to build up, but that's a typical Leyland.
Well, it's very neat, and it's cool to see something like this being saved when we're surrounded by a bunch of modern vehicles. Which, I mean, they're neat in their own right too,
They are,
but
but you look at one Scania, you've seen them all, and that's what you know. Don't get me wrong, they're lovely vehicles, they're lovely to drive, and they look lovely, but they're all pretty much the same. They're all buying the same stuff. There's no character about them, and it's the volume of vehicles that we got here is DAF, Volvo, Scania, MANs. There's some Ivecos and a few Renaults, but that's it. You know, and I've got selection here of vehicles, and I've got one, two, three, four different models of my own that have been restored. Um, and it's they just they're they are running the mill. It's what they are now. They're churning them out. There's no character. There's no
and they're not made here
no
anymore, right?
no. That's the thing. We don't make nothing in the UK anymore.
When did this place get they sold out,
Leyland. Well,
right?
this is Leyland. So
Let's
this
yeah,
I
let's
don't
see if
know
I can
actually
do
when
this.
Leyland.
Backing up. Oh, it's all right. Yeah, I don't know when they existed and no longer existed, so
Yeah, and years ago, as a child traveling with my father, because my father had trucks, you could be stood, you sat there driving at the motorway, and like 2 miles away, that's a Leyland, that's a Ford, that's a Bedford, and you play that game of spot. You could recognise it first. Oh, that's an Atkinson. Now you look at it and think, I could be 10 foot away, and I don't even know if it's a Scania or a DAF.
because they look
It's
the
that
same.
that is the trouble. That is the trouble. But yeah, it's a lovely example. Um, Said not concourse finish. I don't do concourse. I don't want concourse. I want vehicles that show a bit the ding in the tank. You know, somebody's dropped something against it somewhere. You know, it tells a tale.
It was built to do a job. Is it hard to find parts for something like
Yes,
this?
I do actually have. When I bought the vehicle, it had a full engine rebuild kit, and I've still got the engine rebuild kit. Pistons, heads,
Just in
liner.
case.
Just, I don't think I'm going to do enough miles to wear this engine out. But if somebody ever did need the parts, you know, and to put a vehicle on the road, right? So this is the Greater London Council exemption vehicle plate, original one. I didn't change it. I took it off and I put it back on. So when they were going into London, they had to have an exemption plate to let them go in. Otherwise, they had to go round. And this is the start of all your zones, your emission zones, and everything else. Then, and it's when I was driving, we used to go through the middle of London. Then they started bringing this in, so you started having to go round London, and now they just don't want you anywhere near London.
So what would have got a truck that exemption because they were delivering
So if they
into
had to
the
deliver
city?
into it, they had to apply for an exemption to say that they need to come into London, and they paid for that. It cost them money, and we got RHA recovery, and what have we got there? The lorry control permit. So that is obviously for the London. It looks at LBTS.
Interesting that they're still there. That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
And the last time it was taxed was 1989. Can I see the price on that? That looks like £2,450 for the year.
Ooh, that sounds like a lot.
I don't even, can you zoom? It looks like,
On the back one
yeah.
there? Yeah,
So,
that's what it says, I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
it was tax, vehicle tax it went very, very silly because it started going on axles and weights. And you were being, if you were carrying a 2-axle, 3-axle trailer, 2-axle unit, all of it was all calculated on the weight.
But this is little.
Just
That's
little.
a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. It is. But things like that, I leave them in. That's the stories of the vehicles. And it's silly little things like that that makes the difference.
And last question here, Marathon 2, I assume there was just a marathon before this?
There was the Marathon and the Marathon 2, yeah. They put the TL11 in, and the TL12 was the 2.
And is that a light up there on the roof?
So that's you got 2 little lights on the roof either side, because they've got the roof marker lights. But she's such a pretty vehicle.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's ugly but pretty.
A face only a mother would
You know,
love.
exactly.
Quite similar to the shape of the ones next to it, but very different from what's down the way there, except maybe no, it's even pretty different from that older Scania there.
Yeah, yeah.